Calm down, baby, just calm down.
So, chilling this afternoon, enjoying myself a little bit at work today. You know how it is. It's coming close to the end of the week, and you're like, dog, it's time to get this shit over with. One more day, Friday here, the weekend gonna hit, everything gonna be great. And then I come across my news feed to find out a promising young man lost his life today. Mr. Lil Peep. Now I'll be the first to say, like, all these little niggas, they don't make music for me. No, I'm in my mid-30s, dude. Like, we're not gonna be vibing off of the same shit. But still, like, this little nigga was popular. Like, legions of fans, legions of followers. So I'm like, man, what did he die of? And then, of course, drug overdose. And like, you hear the story. The story, again, I'm just going off of what I heard. I didn't fully research how he died, but just to hear the story of him overdosing, like being, I guess, on his tour bus before tour stopped, and people thinking he was just asleep. And it turns around, he overdosed. They rushed him to the hospital when they found out, and a young man had passed away. Like, that's a horrible, sad story to come across, during the course of the day, because you ain't got to know nobody. You don't have to know someone to feel like bad when someone loses their life. And I'm like, well, he was promising. So I listened to a couple of his little tracks. I understood why he had fans. Like, it fit for this generation. Like, he was making jumps for them, and they were feeling him. Even though some of his stuff was like, some of it focused on drug use, some of it focused on depression. And I'm like, wow, well, was he trying to tell us something beforehand? So I decide to go to Lil Man's Instagram page, because with this generation, they tell you everything on Instagram. And boy, first photo I come across is him with pills in his mouth. And I'm like, man, don't tell me he's like one of the ones who kind of promoted drug culture and then died of an overdose. And then as you go through his page, I didn't get someone who promoted drug culture as much as I got someone who was depressed, like who at one point had a mental break. And it seems like he was using music and drugs to escape from that mental break. And I think that's what I want to focus on with this episode is I want to kind of focus on rappers who sensationalize or glamorize this culture. Like, it ain't cool to pop every pill humanly possible. Nor do I want to hear that fuck shit in every song. Like right now, it's sad to say that something this tragic can happen, and people be like, it was bound to happen anyway, because that's the culture of these young kids. Like, nah, that's not cool. Like, right now, I'm not blaming the young kids on it. I'm blaming their older statesmen on it, because the older generation is what pushed forward this drug culture for the younger generation. Because a nigga like Lil Wayne, who will probably be the only rapper I name because I think it correlates well, Lil Wayne is not a young man. Lil Wayne has been talking about doing drugs for years. So someone like a Lil Peep would have grown up on a Lil Wayne, which he's thinking, okay, my hero does it. Why can't I do it? He raps about it. Why can't I rap about it? So while everyone else is out here going to try to blame this younger generation for their drug use and rapping about it and glamorizing it in their music, I'm blaming the generation before them, which happens to be my generation, because while we talked about it, we didn't talk about it in a bad way. Like, when I was growing up listening to 3 6 Mafia with that sipping on some scissor, like, there's nothing negative about scissor in that song. Even though we lost a hip hop legend because of it, it still didn't compute to me at that young of an age that it was bad. It was something I never wanted to do, but I understood why people did it. Same thing with all the rest of these drugs, man. Like, it's so easy to look at these young people and be like, this culture is worse than it's ever been. But shit don't happen overnight. Shit just don't change overnight. This shit was years in the making. From niggas talking about smoking weed, then that shit went up. Then niggas started talking about sniffing powder. Niggas started talking about lacing blunts. Then niggas started talking about lean. Then niggas started talking about taking pills. And then this younger generation talks about everything. And then you want to turn around and blame them like it's their fault. It's like, nah, nigga, you're going to, as a generation before some of these young dudes, I'm going to say we bear the responsibility for everything that happens. Am I saying we're responsible for the tragic deaths of Lil Peep and other young men like him? No, because a portion of it still has to go into you and you taking care of yourself. But I blame us for glamorizing the culture to them, which is leading them to now glamorize the culture to their fans. That's what I'm blaming us for, because that's our fault. So again, it's real sad to hear this story about this young man passed away from drug use. And just to go through his Instagram page and see how many pictures, how much he talks about doing drugs, how many pills he's popping in some of these pictures. Like, shit was real. Like, you gotta wonder, like, was somebody in his ear? Did he have somebody telling him this may not be the way to go? Like, we need you to bring this back, man. If you're doing all these drugs, we can't have you do it. Even if you're not doing it and you're just talking about it, we got to pull that back too, because it's clearly a certain level of responsibility at that point that he had as someone who was speaking to younger people in this culture. It makes you wonder. Makes you wonder. Again, youngins look at Instagram as their little personal highlight reel. And if your personal highlight reel is mainly you doing drugs a lot, talking about drugs a lot, you may need to either talk to somebody or have somebody reach out to you, because some shit ain't right. If you're doing that shit for publicity, get your fucking shit together. That shit's not cool. If you're doing that shit because you're coping, talk to somebody. But again, we as the people, we focus on shit like this after it's too late. Like, you'll hear some people who will talk about how tragic this is, how alarming this is, and you're like, wait a minute. You got Rick Ross having seizures. You got Wayne having seizures. You got all these other rappers who are still smoking and doing everything humanly possible. Damn it, we lost again a hip hop legend because of drugs. But that wasn't enough. So, will what happened with Lil Peep change anything? Of course not, because no one's going to care past a week from now. No one is. Like, that's just the way this culture is. So, we, as the people, have to find a way to deal with bullshit like this. Man, get these young people out this way of thinking this shit is cool. This shit's not cool. But on the flip side, and I think the flip side could be the most important part of this. As I'm searching through his page and I'm noticing like the drug use and everything else, I'm also decided to click on a couple of his pictures. And if you read some of the shit he says, like he had a picture again, that was a couple days ago when he said, "When I die, you'll love me." Another one is, "I just want to be everybody's everything. I want too much from people, then I don't want anything from them at the same time. I don't let people help me, but I need help. When I don't have my pills, but that's temporary because one day maybe I will die young and I'll be happy." What is happy? I always have happiness for like 10 seconds, then it's gone. I'm getting so tired. Man, listen, that shit like hit me like a ton of bricks. Cause I mean, you gotta understand those type of feelings and those type of emotions. Like, I can be real with y'all for a second. I'm gonna be real with y'all for a second, okay? Like late last year, without going into too many details, why I slipped into a hell of a depression. When I say hell of a depression, like I cut everybody off. I was feeling the way he was feeling, that I want people to help, but I want to be by myself. I'm happy for a few moments and then the shit leaves and then I get tired. Then I'm like, man, I don't want to feel this no more. And then all the bad thoughts pop into your head of like, man, maybe if I'm not here anymore, it'll be better for everybody else. And these feelings will stop. Depression is serious. And it's something we don't take serious as people in general. We don't take serious. I'm not just talking about the culture. And when I say the culture, I'm mainly talking about hip hop. And hip hop, I will tell anybody in the world, hip hop has nothing to do with race. This young man is happening to be white. Hip hop is not a race thing, it's a cultural thing. I believe it's a generation, the same way Generation X happened before me. The hip hop generation is me, and that's everybody else below us, or as people would call us, millennials. I don't like the term millennials. I like the term hip hop generation because that's what these people were raised up on. So, in this generation, in this culture, depression is serious, and we don't take it as seriously as we should. Like when I was going through what I was going through, I knew I was depressed a little, but I didn't know how bad it was. But I was going days without eating, days without talking to people, isolating myself from everybody humanly possible. I didn't want to feel anything, but I wanted to feel everything. I didn't want to have no emotions, but I was extremely emotional. It's weird. It does that to you. So then it got me to thinking, as I'm reading up on the story of this little dude, like, was this purposeful? Like, he clearly was depressed. From even other Instagram posts where he put stuff like, I feel empty. Like that's trigger words, man. That's trigger shit that tells me that you're not there. You want somebody to help you, but no one's paying attention. Now, could it be if no one was paying attention because people thought he was just out here bullshitting? I wouldn't have thought that. Nah, like the drug shit, I think you can bullshit, but when you get to talking like that, you can't bullshit that. That's you. That's what's going on in your life. So I can glance over all the drug shit because now it makes me look at the drug use differently. Now I see the drug use as a coping mechanism. As he said, I'm happiest when I have my pills. Meaning the moment I get high, the world goes away and I'm happy because I don't have to think, I don't have to focus on everything that's making me feel this way because everything goes away. For him, it was pills. For me, it was alcohol. Like, I could come home and be like, all right, let me have a couple of drinks. I have enough drinks, man. I'm feeling great because the drinks have clouded me from feeling the emotions that I need to normally feel. So instead, I drink every day. 5 or 6 drinks a day, 5 or 6 drinks a day. I'm gonna keep on doing this. I'm gonna keep on doing this. I don't want to feel anything right now. I'm good. I don't want to feel anything right now. People ask me, was everything okay? Yes, I'm good. I'm good. Don't worry about it. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. You lie and lie. You tell everybody everything is fine because you don't have to deal with them. Because when you're depressed, the weird thing is you feel people's emotion more than you feel your own. So if you were worrying about me, I felt that more than I felt me worrying about myself. And I wonder if that was happening with this young man, where he's popping these drugs because he's like, man, I don't want to feel this shit. I don't want to have to deal with this bullshit. I don't want to have to deal with this world right now. Let me pop this pill and let me get this shit over with. That's something that in this country we gotta work on. We gotta be truthful and honest with each other, man. Everybody needs somebody to look out for them. I don't give a fuck what it is. I don't give a fuck what type of walk of life it is, man. Like you gotta check on people. You gotta not only just check on people because it takes nothing to stop by, but like, you all right? Okay, cool. But if you really know that person, go deeper into that with them. Really find out what's going on. Like when I was going through my bullshit, like I wanted someone to really like dive deep into my thoughts with me to try to help pull me out of it. And it was difficult because at the same time, I didn't want them to know those thoughts. So it kind of makes me wonder where was this young man at? Like, you know, Did he believe that his only option was to possibly take his life? I'm not willing to speculate on that. He could have just wanted to feel good at that point in time and took some drugs. Or he could have been fed up and said, I don't want to deal with this anymore. To me, neither one is wrong. People who tell young people or anybody who goes through depression, like taking your own life is a sign of weakness. That's bullshit. Taking your own life is a sign of strength. If you decide that I've had enough and you're strong enough to make that choice and decision that I'm done, you're not weak for that. I understand that. People who say you're weak if you do something like that are the same people who've never been depressed before in their lives, or they were not willing to acknowledge when they were depressed. So they feed it with something else. But when you got to live in it and live in it for a while, that shit is serious. Like, that's not something you're just going to get over. It's not going to be easy to push back. It's not going to be easy to push through it. And that's when you need the people who love you to be in your corner to try to push you out of it. Like, I had that happen with me. I had like my sister who just wouldn't let me be depressed. I had the squad who I would talk to every day. So when it would get extremely bad, I was able to share with them what was going on. And they would give you those encouraging words or just extra checkup on you to make sure you was fine while not fully understanding everything that was going on with you. Because again, I didn't want to share everything, but it would just be days where all those emotions that I was trying to hide would come out and there would be nothing I can do about it. And on those days, people were there for me. And I can imagine if I was in a situation where on those days I did not have the people who love me to be there for me, I may not be here still. I may have decided to muster up the strength to pull out and say, I'm done now. I could see that. So again, that's what I'm saying. I don't see it as a weakness if that's what this young man did. But I'm not going to say that's what he did. Because again, he may just wanted to feel good and accidentally took too much stuff. Because again, everybody don't react to the same thing. So he may have had one of his mans may have taken something. So he thought, well, I could take the same combination. That's not the case. I mean, clearly, again, from just looking at his posts and everything of this nature, he clearly was someone who took drugs. So he probably know the effects of drugs, which could have led him to taking more drugs to get a bigger effect of drugs, to bigger mass, everything that was going on with him. I don't know what it is. I just know this is a time to feel bad for this young man. You know, this is one of those when, you know, I wish we could talk and find out what's going on. Like, dude, what's going on with you? You good? Everything fine? Like, did he have a friend who would check up on him? Or did you have just friends who just like left him because they didn't know how to respond to it? Which again, I understand. I understand. You got some friends who, while you're going through something like that, they just don't know what to say. Maybe he had some friends that didn't know what to say. Maybe he didn't have anybody really to talk to. Because again, it heightens everything for him to be famous. Because when you're famous, you have a certain amount of fake people around you no matter what. Those fake people ain't checking up on you. They care less about what happens to you, really. They're not family. They're not friends. They're not there for that. They're there because they're trying to ride your wave to the top. And if he had a bunch of wave riders with him, they don't get him whatever the fuck he wants. So if he talk about, I want this drug, I want that drug, I want this drink, I want that drink, they're not going to never tell him no. Again, all of this is speculation. I don't know this young man. I don't know his crew. I don't know what was around him. All I know, this is a time that hopefully people around his age can reflect. Look at yourself in the mirror and realize, like, that may not be the way to go. Far be it from me to tell you what to do with your body. If you're taking drugs out there and that's what you want to do, more power to you. But that may not be the case. You may be going through some of the emotional things, mental breaks that this young man went through. If you are going through something like that, man, I'm here for you. If ain't nobody else here, I understand it. It's not easy to deal with, and it's not something you could deal with on your own. This is not, I don't give a fuck how strong you think you are mentally. Depression is not something you can deal with on your own. You have to reach out to somebody. Like, I didn't start fully getting better till I reached out and started talking to a therapist. They helped me put my thoughts together, put things that was leading me to the depression in a perspective that I can understand and that I can move forward from. Because when you're trying to figure that shit out by yourself, it's never going to work. And something tragic can happen. And for like this kid's mom, nobody wants to bury their kids. He was 21, man. 21. He had so much more living to do. Again, people, I pointed out because of the drug use, but still, the kid had life to live. And I don't know if it was the drug use or the depression that took him out, but one of them did, or maybe a combination of both. I'm just saying, this is why someone needs to see this tragedy and start living because of it. Don't let Lil Peep's story be your story. Try your best to get the help you need so this shit ain't gonna drown you in sorrow, despair, like it drowned this kid. Because again, drugs will do two things for you: help you live or help you die. Drugs don't have a middle ground. It's not a fucking drug in the world you can take that's just like, oh man, this just makes me feel good. Nah, man, it's helping you make your way and live through this life, or it's gonna help take you out of this life. Whichever one you wanted to do, that's what these drugs are meant to do. So man, I just hope like people read up on this young man, his fans. I mean, please take heed to what happened to this young man. And if y'all did depressed, because his music may have made you feel better because he was going through it, you're going through it. So you're like, man, I can relate. If that's the case, go out there and get some help, man. Don't be by yourself in this time. If you're one of his little fans who was doing drugs like he was doing, and because he's doing it, you popping them pills, you thinking that shit cool, cut that shit the fuck out. Shit's not cool. You end up just like him. Pretty sure that's not what he would have wanted. Pretty sure this isn't what he wanted. Just take care of yourself. Make sure you do it too. We're in a time and a place where young people seem to be more reckless than they should. I want y'all to know, I understand, I was in my 20s at one point. We are not invincible. Ever. Ever are we invincible. I don't give a fuck how invincible you feel when you're in your 20s, because in your 20s, you feel like Superman. I can live through anything. Unfortunately, this is a lesson for you all who think that. You can't live through anything. Your body will not always bounce back. Eventually, your body will have enough and say, I can't make it anymore. But damn it, don't let something like this be the reason you don't reach out for help. Again, somebody's there to listen. I don't give a fuck who it is. If you got to fucking strike up a conversation with somebody on the street about what the fuck you're going through, do it. Sometimes getting the words out helps.
I had my major come to grips that it ain't so much the drugs, it's the addict behaviors. Wasn't the dip jars, the cut that came with it. Wasn't really the smoking, but the rush that came with it. Wasn't